Greetings and welcome to the October 18th edition of WrestleScope Weekly. This is John. My apologies. Had some technical issues with the wonderful webcam I have, which is a piece of junk. I'll be perfectly honest. So I put out on, and I need to look and see here. I apologize. I'm going to be multi-screening tonight. Lots to talk about, though, as well, awesome. Thank you very much. We saw the end of the WWE draft, which if you follow me on TikTok, you know I posted that. It was a hot mess. It really was a hot mess is the best way to describe it. We see Seth Rollins, Murphy, and the Mysterios all moving over to SmackDown. You see the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championships and then immediately getting drafted to Raw, and then Big E being left on SmackDown, then the Street Profits getting traded over to... Sorry, I've got multiple things going on. Street Profits getting drafted over to Raw or SmackDown, which is no big surprise. The return of Lars Sullivan, which that's a whole other story, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Then we see a Raw and a SmackDown where basically you've got wrestlers from both brands on both shows. SmackDown on Friday night was really an interesting show. And I didn't put in the tag for this. We have to talk about Lana being the number one contender for Asuka. And I want to kick off with that and talk about that, as it came as a huge surprise in that battle royal that they had to determine on Monday Night Raw to determine the number one contender for Asuka's Raw Women's Championship. And Lana got taken out outside the ring early, and she wasn't seen. We saw a lot of things going back and forth. I was really shocked with who was kind of in the final three or four. And then all of a sudden, I believe it was Natalya that was left, thought she had won, and here comes Lana and takes out her former tag team partner who had basically turned on her earlier in the evening. And Lana is the number one contender and will be taking on Asuka on Monday night for the Raw Women's Championship. Excuse me. And today I saw the report come out. I believe it was Wrestling Observer Online, Dave Meltzer and his crew over there, that Lana is set for a big babyface singles push. Like, okay, where in the world did this come from? Because for the last 4 weeks, I want to say it was 3 times in 5 weeks, she was put through a table by Nia Jax. She was basically squashed. She was made to look stupid. She was in that just ill-fated tag team with Natalya, talking about Natalya being the boat, the best of all time. And now those two split up, and all of a sudden, she's getting a push. And you have to think, first of all, there were people saying, okay, the reason she was getting squashed, the reason she was getting put through tables is because what her husband Miro said in his first appearance on AEW, basically bad-mouthing the WWE, talking bad about it, and she was getting punished. And now all of a sudden, she's getting a big face push. Is anybody going to take her serious? Well, then again, we have to look back a couple of years ago. Who was it that beat Randy Orton for the WWE title? A jobber, somebody that didn't do anything, somebody that was overlooked and considered a joke, won Jinder Mahal, and he held the belt for what, 6 months? Could we potentially see a huge shock on Monday night with Lana winning the Raw Women's Championship? I was sitting here eating my dinner prior to going live, and it scares me to think that maybe, just maybe, this is a possibility that Lana could become the Raw Women's Champion. Because if you look at it, we're not that far away from Hell in a Cell. We're only, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight. No, 1 week. Oh my goodness. 1 week from tonight, from Hell in a Cell, and Asuka doesn't have an opponent. There has been no push for anybody for Asuka right now. And you have to look at the Raw Women's division. Actually, let me go ahead and pull up the current roster listings on WWE.com. And I want to see who is all listed for the women's division. Because I'm very curious to see exactly what potential feuds there could be for Asuka moving forward. I really don't know what there is. All right, let's see. It's not what we want. Okay. You know, it is so difficult to find things when you really want it on WWE.com. It really, truly is a mess. I should have been, excuse me, my goodness, I am so sorry. Continuing to battle the allergies here. And let's see. Now we will just do a search, if it'll allow me, for rosters. And we'll find out here, because I really want to know. Okay, yeah, no, it's searched on the network, which is not what I wanted. Okay, we've got champions. We've got current superstars. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to the trusty internet here. Such great content right now, isn't it? I apologize. Me typing on the screen. Current WWE roster. There we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, Raw roster has Alexa Bliss, which obviously she's not wrestling right now. Asuka. They have Becky Lynch listed, but obviously she's not going anywhere. I thought Billie Kay got moved to SmackDown. Charlotte Flair, who's obviously not back. Dana Brooke. And we keep going, and okay, this has got to be old because they have Jason. All right, what is this from? They have Jason Jordan listed. Jason Jordan is not an active wrestler. Well, it was last updated a few days ago, so... All right, we're going to go with it. So, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Billie Kay, Charlotte Flair, Dana Brooke. They list JoJo, Lana, Lacey Evans, Mandy Rose. Forgot about Mandy Rose, Nia Jax, Naomi. So there we go. Okay, so I stand corrected. There are a number of different feuds that could happen here, but they're not doing anything to build anything. Nikki Cross is also there. So actually, they have a very strong division on Raw for the women, but they're not doing anything to develop it. So we're going into Hell in a Cell, and we don't know what's going on. 1 week out from the pay-per-view, and we literally have 3 matches that are confirmed as we look at it. And you have to wonder, what exactly is the plan moving forward? Obviously, there's a lot of things that are going to shake out, but this was my big complaint. My huge complaint going into the draft was they booked it so stupidly. The timing of it was just ridiculous. They have 3 matches scheduled right now. Reigns versus Jey Uso for the Universal Championship in a Hell in a Cell I Quit match. Funny thing is, the 3 matches that are listed are all Hell in a Cell. The WWE Hell in a Cell Championship match, Drew versus Orton. And then the SmackDown Women's Championship Hell in a Cell match, Bayley versus Sasha. Which I want to stay with the women's division here and talk about what happened on Friday night. Bayley refused to sign the contract in the contract signing ceremony with Sasha and with WWE official Adam Pearce. Can we just say that Adam Pearce is the GM of SmackDown? Can we just do it? I mean, I love the fact that Scrap Iron Adam Pearce is getting so much airtime, well deserved considering the great career he had in the NWA and on the Indies that he's getting this time. Can we please just give him the GM role? But then again, maybe not. I kind of like the fact that he's a WWE official. But anyways, we have 2 storyline confirmed matches for a pay-per-view in 1 week. We know something's going to happen on SmackDown with Bayley and Sasha, where Bayley is basically going to be forced by Sasha to put that title on the line. What do we have next? Let's take a look at the tag team titles. New Day is not feuding with anybody right now because they matched up with Rude and Ziggler on Monday night before Rude and Ziggler left for SmackDown. They have no one. The Street Profits, okay, they had a battle with Rude and Ziggler. Is it going to be them at Hell in a Cell? United States Championship, Bobby Lashley. Who does he have? He's got nobody. Apollo Crews is gone. Ricochet, they're done with him. What next? The Intercontinental Championship, okay, there's a few irons in the fire there. I was thinking we were going to see Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. Could we see Sami Zayn versus Otis after what just happened on Friday night? I don't know. There's not a lot there. I dread to think, are they going to fast track a Seth Rollins Murphy match in Hell in a Cell? Way too early for that match to happen. They need to continue to build on that. Take the Mysterios out of this situation. Maybe have them off as a side thing where you've got Buddy. I'm going to continue to call him Buddy. He's Buddy Murphy. You have Buddy Murphy having his feud with Seth Rollins, but then you have the whole, he wants to have the relationship with Aaliyah Mysterio, but Ray and Dominic don't want it to happen. And that whole angst, maybe not fighting going on between them, but have that as a whole side thing right now. I'd like that. But what else do we have? We really don't have anything else. Could we see a Kevin Owens Aleister Black match? Kind of the blow off of that whole thing. The Hurt Business has absolutely nothing right now. And I'm really confused. Let's jump back a little bit here to Raw. And we did not see Retribution at all. There was supposed to be the Mustafa Ali coming out and explaining why he did what he did, why he is the leader of Retribution, explaining everything. We even saw a little bit of a video package about it, and that was it. Nothing else. There was nothing else there. Has the shine worn off on Retribution? They invested so much time into this over a 2-month period and gave this big shock moment with Mustafa Ali. And now all of a sudden it's going to be 2 weeks since that happened. And they're going to try picking up the pieces again. I really don't think WWE has an idea right now of what they're doing with Retribution. And it's a shame. There is a lot of potential there. You build for a big match against the Hurt Business. And I've heard a number of people say online, and my guys over at Wrestle Talk have said this, that they fear that there will be Hurt Business versus Retribution, and Hurt Business is going to beat them down, and that's going to be it for Retribution. If I was booking it, it would be the other way around. Retribution, whether it's one member or 5 members, whatever it is, every time somebody from the Hurt Business is in a match, they are getting involved in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's just one member coming out and helping out whoever is facing them, or they cause a DQ or something. It's basically like first generation NWO, where the NWO was involved in everything before they exploded like 30 guys and 4 different groups and whatever. I'm talking the first 6 to 9 months of the NWO, when they were the hottest act on television. They were the hottest act in professional wrestling. That's what they need to do. If you copy a little bit, that's fine. If you replicate, you could do the same thing with early on Aces and Eights from TNA. Before they unmasked, before Bully Ray, when Bully Ray was trying to become, best buddies with Hulk Hogan, and the Brooke Hogan thing was involved. I mean, don't get that kind of storyline involved, but all the things they did, replicate those things that worked for early NWO, early Aces and Eights, and do that with Retribution. You've got something huge here. And then maybe right after Royal Rumble, we finally get, T-Bar and Mace and Slapjack and whoever else, they get unmasked. And we finally get to see their faces, even though we all know it's Dominic Dijakovic and it's Dio Madden and it's, good grief, who is Slapjack? I keep forgetting who Slapjack is. And then the women, Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez, don't know if it's still going to be her or not, but you unmask them. And you do it on their terms. You don't have it where, if you lose, this member has to unmask. No, they finally show who they truly are. And maybe you're in a position to bring up a couple of other NXT people. And then maybe you grow the group to be 7 or 8. Kind of like the Dark Order is right now. You don't want to replicate that too much, though. You've got to be careful with that, because everybody's going to be pointing fingers. Oh, you're just copying what AEW is doing with Dark Order, with the Exalted One. And, you've got this and this. No, you've got to eliminate comparisons there. Have it be similar enough to NWO, Aces and Eights, but contrastly different than Dark Order. So again, you have Retribution get a huge win over Hurt Business at Survivor Series. I'm talking a dominating win, even against Bobby Lashley. Let Bobby get some of the offense in, but you have it be a dominant win for Retribution and let them run with that going into Royal Rumble. And you have everybody wondering, all right, what in the world, how are we going to stop this group in the Royal Rumble? And maybe you get some guys over on SmackDown. You have them be that group that can go back and forth between shows, which means maybe you've got to put the tag team titles onto 2 members of Retribution. No, actually, that wouldn't mean they could go back and forth on shows. I'm sorry. I'm thinking the women's tag team titles. Something's got to happen where they can go back and forth on shows, or they can have members on SmackDown. How big would that be for a new group of Retribution to suddenly show up on SmackDown? And then you've got this whole worry from both rosters going into the Royal Rumble. All right, we've got these guys on both shows. What are we going to do? And that's the huge story going into the Royal Rumble is retribution. Fantasy booking, that's the way I would do it. But back to it again, WWE is, again, dropped the ball with a pay-per-view that they're really planning at the last minute and trying to push at the last minute. Hell in a Cell has always been a bigger, it's not a big four, but it's always been kind of a bigger pay-per-view during the year. And this has turned into a throwaway, almost like the old in-your-house pay-per-views. All right, let's transition. Let's talk a little bit about NXT. And boy, I got to tell you, you have to think that ever since Adam Cole lost the NXT championship, that belt is cursed. Keith Lee held it for a matter of a couple of weeks, lost it to Karrion Kross, who got injured. Finn Balor wins the title in a great fatal four-way match. And in his defense against Kyle O'Reilly, he gets injured. And it didn't look to be too bad at first. He was going to be out for a few weeks. And then he had surgery, and now they're playing it up storyline-wise. And maybe it's just storyline, but it's almost sounding like they are getting ready to strip Finn Balor of the NXT championship. And you have to look at it now that, okay, let's fast forward 2 weeks here. And let's say in a week and a half at Halloween Havoc, they announced that Finn Balor is not going to be able to compete for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So because of that, the NXT title needs to be vacated and they have to do something quick. But Finn Balor, when he comes back, automatically gets the first title opportunity as the former champion, which would be kind of a cool way to do it. But you have to wonder, okay, who's going to get the title in that short term? If Kyle O'Reilly is healthy enough, you obviously have to have him in the mix. Adam Cole, that whole storyline with Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland ended up getting hurt right after his attack at TakeOver 31 against Adam Cole. So that whole storyline had to get scrapped. You'd think Adam Cole would be involved, but who else? Who else will be in there? Johnny Gargano? Again? Maybe. Where's Tommaso Ciampa? Does anybody know where Tommaso Ciampa is? I would love to see Damian Priest get involved in this. But NXT is in an interesting situation right now. And Halloween Havoc, I'm really looking forward to this show. And I like the fact that they brought back the spin the wheel, make the deal, though I have a hard time saying this. I am a huge fan of Shotzi Blackheart. I love her character. She is entertaining as all heck. But I got to tell you, when she came out at the end of that show last Wednesday and announced the spin the wheel, make a deal, oh, she looked and sounded absolutely awful. Just terrible. But I understand her being the host, and I'm excited for what it brings. And I like the fact that you've got the North American Championship in a spin the wheel, make a deal match. You've got the NXT Women's Championship, Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. And I got this funny feeling that unless something changes, unless an announcement comes out based on Finn Balor at Halloween Havoc, I think we're going to see both Garganos win gold. And Indy Hartwell is obviously going to get involved in the Io Shirai Candice LeRae match to help Candice LeRae. And I see Cameron Grimes costing Damian Priest the NXT North American Championship. But with that happening, if Damian Priest loses at Halloween Havoc, guaranteed within 6 months, I'm going to say probably even sooner. It all depends on what happens with the NXT Championship. But within 6 months, Damian Priest will be the NXT champion. He has done so much for himself with his character development and everything just in the last 8 to 9 months that he is a top level star. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if by WrestleMania he's called up to the main roster, because Vince is going to see him. 6'7", charismatic, good-looking guy, great in the ring. The chicks dig him. He's going to get called up. But honestly, don't worry, it's ginger ale. But honestly, I'd love to see him have a little bit more of a sustained run in NXT and let him be the leader of that roster. I think he could do some phenomenal things. They need to do him better than they did Keith Lee. They called Keith Lee up way too early, and he's floundering right now on the main roster. He really is. All right, I want to switch gears real quick to a news report. And I talked about this on my TikTok earlier today, that the guys at Wrestle Talk posted this, and it came from a Wrestling Observer newsletter, that there are heavy talks that Ronda Rousey could be returning to the WWE after the first of the year, either at the Royal Rumble or leading up to WrestleMania for a match at WrestleMania. Her in-ring return could potentially be at WrestleMania, which would be 2 years since the last time we saw her. And the talks are she would main event the show with a returning superstar. Now, everybody knows who that superstar is going to be. They're talking Becky Lynch. Obviously, Becky, everything is up in the air with her. She's due to give birth to her first child, her and Seth Rollins' baby, sometime in December. Obviously, she's going to need to take a little bit of time away for that, to recover from the pregnancy and childbirth and spend time with the baby. I potentially see Ronda Rousey coming back right before the Royal Rumble, and whoever the Raw Women's Champion is, she defeats that person at the Royal Rumble and goes up to WrestleMania as the champion and takes on Becky Lynch one-on-one. Now, will they have Becky Lynch win the title in her first match back? Will they have her beat Ronda Rousey twice in a row? Or do they owe Ronda Rousey for taking the pinfall and taking the loss back at WrestleMania 35 to Becky Lynch? And is that really the main event? I can't see that being the main event quite yet, simply because there are still talks about Roman Reigns versus The Rock for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. Now, there's a lot of time and a lot of things involved. Is that going to happen? The Rock probably wants to come back and once again attempt to give that big rub, the passing of the torch, to his cousin, to Roman Reigns. Attempted to do that at Royal Rumble a couple of years ago, and it failed miserably. Everybody just booed both of them out of the building. I personally don't want to see that match. I don't want to see Rock versus Roman Reigns, because one of two things is going to happen. Rock is going to win as the babyface, and a month later he's going to drop the belt to somebody else, or he's going to drop it back to Roman, or Roman's going to win it and nobody's going to give a damn. And that's my fear right now with Roman Reigns, because he is the hottest thing in WWE right now. The storytelling and everything else going on in this feud with Jey Uso is just, it's magic right now. And the great thing is, it's not being led by Paul Heyman. It's not being led really by on the mic promos. Pete Quinnell from Wrestle Talk on his SmackDown review on Saturday said it perfectly. He talked about how when they had the mics, the outside mics turned up, and it was Roman talking to Jay, not on the microphone, but talking to him man to man in the ring, the real emotion that you felt out of that, the true feelings that you got from that. It was fantastic. There was question marks about the match between Roman and Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman was basically just used as a piece of the puzzle, as a cog in this whole thing. He's just a company guy that was willing to do it on his way out of SmackDown, heading to Raw. But the aftermath of that match, that final 5 minutes of the show was just fantastic. When Roman took the chair and just started beating the crap out of Braun. And then Jay comes down to the ring and is just standing there with this conflicted look on his face. Like, do I get in and help him? I don't really know this guy. What am I doing? Then he gets in the ring. He refuses to hit Roman when he had his back turned. But then, punches him and kicks him and gets some chair shots in afterwards. And then Roman standing tall after a Superman punch. It was beautiful. Just the build and the storytelling to this match. I'm excited to see and I really hope this is the absolute end go home shot that we see on SmackDown this coming week, is either Jay standing over a fallen Roman or Roman doing something, maybe to Jimmy Uso or somebody else. He does something where you're just captivated. As they go to black, you're sitting there like, oh my goodness, I have to watch Hell in a Cell to see what's going to happen. Raw, I'm not feeling that so much. I'm really not feeling that going into going into Hell in a Cell, because what are they going to do with Randy and Drew that they haven't done already? They've done the pull aparts. They're beating each other up. They ended the show this last Monday with those two battling. Or, what I see them doing at the end of Raw is, if Lana wins, that's the final shot you get, is Lana holding the Raw Women's Championship over the fallen Asuka. And that's your go-home angle for Hell in a Cell from Raw. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect going into tomorrow night. I really don't. Friday night, I'm more excited for. I have been that way for a couple of months now. They've got to build on some new things, but they've got basically one cornerstone for Hell in a Cell on a 3-hour show, and you've got nothing else for Hell in a Cell. You've got to quickly build something else. And what are they going to do? I have no clue. Now I was going to talk about something else here, and I completely lost my train of thought of what the other thing I was going to talk about was. Oh, gotta love that. That's why I shouldn't do these on Sunday nights. I was actually planning on recording this on Saturday, and life just kind of got in the way of everything. So before I wrap up here, I want to thank everybody that has viewed this, that has watched this, that's been following me on TikTok and Instagram. I'm hoping, my hope is, if you're happening to watch this on YouTube and you don't follow me on TikTok, please follow WrestleScope TV on TikTok. I do a lot more content over there. I do, usually one or two or three things a day, depending on what's going on. If there's any breaking news, my goal, hopefully before the end of the month, is to get to 1,000 followers on TikTok, so I can start doing lives on TikTok. I don't know if I'm going to go live on TikTok and YouTube at the same time, or if I'll do different things. We'll see. Go to my link tree, which is in my YouTube bio. I've got all my links for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, for my Patreon, which is up as well. Hopefully going to be doing some things. I'm going to be working on a few things during this next week. Just in my personal life right now, I'm going to be at home for the next week. Thanks to some things happening with the wonderful C word. No, not me personally, but my work has been shut down for a week. So I'm going to be doing things from home, doing more here on YouTube, more short form videos and everything. But I'm going to be putting a lot more content out this week. I will have a predictions video for Hell in a Cell. I may have to wait until Friday night. It all kind of depends on if they announce anything else. If anything else gets leaked and put out, I'm going to base a lot of it too, again, on the guys from Wrestle Talk. I talk about them a lot. If you are not following them on YouTube, please give them a follow. I love those guys over there. I don't get anything from it. It's just a plug from one brand new creator to guys that have been creating wrestling content for a number of years and do a great job, and they're an inspiration to me. Follow them. Wrestle Talk. They have Wrestle Talk and Wrestle 2. The number 2 is their other channel, but give Wrestle Talk a subscribe. Please follow their content. They have stuff up every single day. Fantastic stuff over there. So please go check them out. But again, go to my link tree, please. It's going to drive me nuts. And, I know I'm going to end this and then remember, oh, that's the other thing I was going to talk about. But I'm not going to worry about it now. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this. Go ahead. If you're watching this on replay, leave your comments. I will reply to comments as well as they come in. But thank you very much. I'm John. This is WrestleScope. This has been WrestleScope Weekly, edition number 2. More coming your way very soon. Take care and have a great night. And I can't find the end stream button. Where did it go? I lost my mouse. I guess you guys are stuck with me. Maybe I could take a second here and figure out exactly what it is I was actually going to say. What was I going to talk about? I don't remember. We're just going to go. We're going to go. Have a good night, everybody.